Everyone thinks that you have to put all of the SEO optimization right on the front page of the website where every person that comes by to read and to see your services will see all of the SEO that you're applying. But that's not true. And what I mean by this is that you can put the SEO optimization in spots that won't affect the human reader or the people that come by to check out your services, right? And a few ways of doing this, I'm going to use some other people's websites and my own to show you how we can still SEO optimize a website without ruining the readability or the experience for the people that come by looking for our services. So this is going to be a plumber site, right? We can see what they're putting on the website for their content and SEO, right? As we go through here, we can see the keywords that they're using, location, geographic. Then we got some related keywords, some more variations. Now, here is a one of the ways. This isn't my ideal way, but it's one of the ways that we can get related terms, keyword variations, and other similar or common words that would go with the service plumbing. What we can see here is that they've got all these icons of services that they offer, and then they're listing the words or the service, and then they're putting some other words with it, with like repair, garbage disposal repair and replacement. So garbage disposal replacement is, and so this is one way you can do it with these icons on the page. We can scroll down here. We see they got listicles. They're listing off. Then we can see that they have reviews, which I personally really like as a way to get more content on the page without affecting the human or the person looking for your services experience, right? Because what we can do is, let's say we have a Google My Business profile, and let's say we have like 30 to like 100 reviews. What we can do is we can go through and find the very verbose reviews that were left and then use those on our page. Now, let's say that we have like 300 reviews. We can go through and find the ones that are keyword rich, keyword heavy, and those are the ones that we use on the page. Now, you can even get really crazy, like really dirty with it, is for each service you offer, you find very specific reviews that mention those services. And then we can even put a bold tag on those, right? And beef up the content, the word count, the term frequency, the related keywords, the main keyword, everything on that page. Another thing is when you go to display the reviews, you can do it how this website's doing it, right? We can only display one review at a time. But honestly, if they click this, we can make it so that when they click this carousel or however you want to call it, where it could have 100 reviews, but it's only displaying one at a time. But when a crawler or a robot comes by to read the website, it sees all 100 reviews. And let's say each of those reviews has another 30 to 50 words, you can really beef up with the content on the page, but not have it being displayed. And if you have the reviews support it, you can make it super relevant. So that's just one example. Then what we'll do is we'll go to my page. And one of the ways that I like to do this is in the FAQ, I will have it as an accordion so I can hide the SEO, right? And when we go in here, we can see that I have terms bolded and I have pretty verbose FAQ. You You can see all of these terms bolded. This is the right here. What I have highlighted is the main or the top level keyword that I'm trying to target. And so we can just keep going. And right here, you can even see that this is a variation of my top level keyword. My top level keyword is process servers SEO. And right here, I have SEO for process servers. And we can see here that in this FAQ, I can get a lot of content that doesn't take away from what the person reading or looking for my services can see up here at the top. I can answer pretty much everything here at the top. And then in my FAQs, my how-tos, and everything kind of like below the fold, we can put a lot of the content and a lot of the SEO optimization kind of outside view of people that come onto the website so that when we go to optimize the site or the web page, we're not making it so that the human or the person that comes to read is overwhelmed and is like, there's way too much information. There's over 10,000 words on this page and just clicks off, right? Another thing is, or another example is when we come to this website, we can see that they're kind of doing a similar thing. And then not only do they have this wording here, but the URL, if I click this, it'll take me to another page, just a URL click. In the URL, it has twit repair. So that is also going to be another instance of a term being on the page because they have the URLs that have the keywords in them. So we can see some other things, right? Like right here, this little plus icon, maybe 1% of people actually click on it, but it's on the page. So this is more content we can get on the page. They could beef this up to like 3 more paragraphs if they wanted to. And we go down here, and this is kind of what I'm saying is like what we would like to avoid is just these giant sections, just a wall of text. I don't want to read this. You don't want to read this. Nobody wants to read that. And then again here, look at this. They have all of this text on the page, and it doesn't take away from the readability or my experience on the website. And the great thing too about this is probably how they have it set up in their CMS is that this content that they've made once is across all of their pages whenever they use these icons. And so this is look at this, look at all this text. They've probably got maybe a couple hundred words, maybe even 1,000 words just in this section alone, but it doesn't take away from my experience when I come on the website. But there's a lot of SEO in here. There's a lot of SEO in here. And then again, here, kind of similar to the first one we looked at, when we look at this page, look how much content is right here. Like these this amount of content and words that we can, they can SEO. They can put in the different variations, the other different keywords, different combinations. They can even go like for the long tail form, sewer line repair, sewer line replacement. And we can just keep seeing and seeing all of these, right? And then they kind of did what I mentioned earlier is that they have the reviews here. And the awesome thing is that they reduced it down a little bit to where you don't have to see the whole review. So it doesn't take up too much of the page, right? It's a little bit hidden. You have to click show more to see more of the review. Because if you were to land on the page and this was already expanded, it's just overwhelming. Nobody wants to read it. And we can see here, as we keep going and going and going and going, look at all this. This is all just extra content on the page. And we don't have to do anything for this. Once we build this reviews carousel, we can just use this across all the pages. Another example is if we go and look at the keyword DUI lawyer Los Angeles. Also, want to shout out to anybody that knows. Shout out to Ted Kubitis and SEO Fight Club. It's an absolutely amazing podcast you should watch. But what we can go is and start clicking on some of these URLs, and I selected a few that look good. And here's another example. Google can read the text on these images, and they can be counted towards your term frequency or your keywords and everything, right? Just look at how much keywords and content they're able to get right there. Another way is that, similar to how I spoke about before, because they have all of these URLs on this page, this is also counting and goes towards your keyword density and the amount of keywords on the page. Just because they're in the URL does not mean they do not. As we can see here, they have done it a little bit better. They've made it one little liners that this is a little bit easier to read. It's not just a giant wall of text. We can see that how they're bold tagging certain words. Then they also have uh, the text, the link to those other pages, hyperlinks. Sorry, I was trying to think of the word. And so we can see kind of how they're choosing to get the SEO on the page. Now, here's another example, except with blogs or with terms, or as an example, with law is charges you could face, right? They, by including this on the page, are getting more and more of those related terms and term frequencies on the page. What I would do is I would have like 2 paragraphs here, and I would have it like an accordion condensed where they have to click to see more. But just again, another way to get content on the page without removing it from the user. And then we can see here on the recent results, which is not only good, probably for conversion, but it's also to get the amount of keywords on the page up. This we can actually scroll and we can see that there's probably a couple hundred words here, but because they have it scrollable in this condensed little pocket, it doesn't take away from my experience of the website. And then they also have the testimonials that we can see here, just more content on the page, more free keywords, more terms, everything, right? And then another thing, I don't know if they're doing it, but on these images, you can get some pretty verbose alt text. And then again, recent results again, you can scroll this, another couple hundred words there. And then down here, what I thought was interesting is that the service areas, they have these URLs, and these URLs also, like I said before with the navigation, have these variations or keywords in them. Then we'll go to another DUI lawyer, and then we can see how they have their SEO done, or how do they have the content on the page done. And this is pretty normal, right? There's nothing crazy. They've got the reviews again, another way of getting content on the page. They've got these FAQs right here. Let's look at this actually. It takes us to a different page, which is interesting. Then you have these little links to all their services. And then you have these blogs. And so it's interesting to see what their choice was on how to optimize the site. And then we go to this one. This is more of a directory, but what's super interesting about this is they're doing something similar to the previous sites. If we hit read more, we can actually be taken to this guy's directory listing. But currently, that entire description right there, there's probably a lot more to it, or they could put a lot more to it to where it doesn't affect my readability, but it's on this page so that they can get to that really high keyword count. And so the whole reason is to show the many different ways that you can get those term frequencies, the keywords, everything that you need to rank SEO wise without taking away from the experience when people come to purchase or to look for your service.